The morning after Catherine Vale called me, the hospital smelled like burnt coffee and rain. I had slept for 43 minutes in a chair beside my mother's bed. I knew the exact number because exhaustion had turned sleep into another thing I measured. 43 minutes. 8 days since I entered the wrong elevator. 9 days until the Cross Foundation Gala. 72 children identified inside Calder's inheritance files. 3 Phase 4 hospital nodes still resisting shutdown. 1 woman missing. Catherine Vale. The name sat inside my mind like a light left on in an empty room. My mother woke at 6:12. She opened her eyes, looked at the ceiling, then turned toward me. "You are staring. I am checking whether you are breathing. I have a machine for that." The monitor beside her produced a steady rhythm. I looked away from it. Calder had taught me not to trust machines simply because they sounded certain. Mom studied my face. "How long did you sleep?" "Enough." "That means almost none." "You taught me the phrase." "I taught you many bad habits." She shifted beneath the blanket and winced. The biopsy site hurt. She tried to hide it by reaching for her water. I handed her the cup. "You do not have to pretend with me." "I am not pretending." "You are holding your breath." She exhaled. "Fine. It hurts." "Better." "No, it still hurts." "You know what I meant." She drank slowly. Morning light moved through the blinds and laid pale lines across her green cardigan, folded over the chair. For most of my life, that cardigan had meant my mother was going somewhere to care for another person. Mrs. Donnelly, a neighbor after surgery, Hannah after Lily was born, Dad after his back seized, me during flu season in college. Now the cardigan remained empty. My mother was the one in the bed. Neither of us knew what to do with that. A nurse entered with medication and a blood pressure cuff. Her name was Alicia. She was young, maybe 28, with tired eyes and pink shoes. She explained every medication before touching the 4. That detail mattered more than it would have 2 days earlier. Calder had lived beneath the hospital. Consent could no longer be assumed because someone wore scrubs. Mom listened carefully. "So this one is for pain?" "Yes." "And it will not interfere with my kidney function?" The dose was reviewed by nephrology. "Who reviewed it?" Alicia gave her the physician's name. Mom nodded. "Thank you." After the nurse left, my mother looked toward the hallway. "Is Jonathan awake?" "Yes." "You checked?" "A federal agent told me." "You asked a federal agent?" I walked past his room. "How many times?" "Once." My mother's expression said she did not believe me. "Hannah is a bad influence on you," I said. "She tells me things. She tells everyone things." Mom settled back against the pillow. "Is he still under guard?" "Federal supervision." "Charged?" "Not yet." "Will he be?" "I do not know." "You have said that more this week than in your entire life. Reality has become less organized." "It was never organized. You only had fewer files." The door opened again. This time, Dr. Patel entered. She carried a tablet against her chest. Her expression told me the pathology report had returned before she spoke. My hand found the edge of the bed. Mom noticed. She placed her fingers over mine. Dr. Patel, Saturday. I received the preliminary biopsy results. Mom's hand remained steady. Mine did not. "The mass is malignant," Dr. Patel said. The room went quiet. Not dramatic quiet. Hospital quiet. The ventilation system continued. A cart rattled somewhere outside. A monitor recorded every beat of my mother's heart, as if the word malignant had not changed the air. "What type?" Mom asked. "Clear cell renal cell carcinoma." I heard cancer. The rest arrived as sound. Dr. Patel continued carefully. "The imaging suggests it is localized to the kidney. We do not currently see evidence that it has spread." Currently. The word mattered. "What happens next?" I asked. "We complete staging. Surgical oncology reviews whether a partial nephrectomy is appropriate. Partial means they remove only the mass. The mass and a margin of surrounding tissue, if the location allows. When? As soon as the team completes the review. Likely within the next 2 weeks. Mom nodded as if the doctor had given her a new work schedule. Treatment after. Surgery. That depends on the final pathology. Chances. Dr. Patel did not offer an easy number. I believe we found it at a treatable stage. Not promise. Not false comfort. A reason to keep moving. My mother asked about recovery time. Insurance approval. Work restrictions. She asked when she could return to Mrs. Donnelly. Dr. Patel stared at her. Not soon. Define soon. Margaret. It was the first time I heard the doctor use her first name. You need to allow your body to be the person receiving care. Mom looked away. I understood that refusal. Care had always been something she did. Receiving it felt like debt. We will handle Mrs. Donnelly, I said. She does not like substitutes. She will survive. That is an insensitive thing to say about an 87-year-old. You know what I mean. Mom's mouth moved slightly. Dr. Patel rose. I will return after the surgical review. At the door, she stopped. One more thing. We looked at her. The delayed imaging matters. Mom's face changed. Dr. Patel continued. I cannot say whether the delay changed the clinical outcome, but the denial prevented earlier evaluation of a medically appropriate test. Will that be documented? I asked. Yes. Not only in her chart. No, Dr. Patel's expression hardened. I am submitting it to the independent audit. My mother nodded. Good. The doctor left. I stood beside the bed and stared at nothing. Cancer. Localized. Treatable. Surgery. 2 weeks. Each word entered separately. Mom squeezed my hand. Do not make that face. What face? The one where you decide you can prevent the future by concentrating hard enough. I do not make that face. You have made it since you were 6. I looked at her. You should have had the scan last month. Yes. If the algorithm had approved it, we cannot live inside the month we lost. You may need treatment because I need treatment because I have cancer. The directness hurt. The delay was wrong, she continued. We will address it. But do not let anger become a second illness in this room. My eyes burned. You are allowed to be afraid. I am. You do not look afraid. That is because you are looking for drama. She lifted our joined hands. This is what my fear looks like. Her fingers were cold. I held them tighter. At 7:05, Hannah arrived with 2 bags of breakfast, 1 folder of insurance documents, and enough anger to power the hospital. She read the pathology summary twice. Then once more. Localized, she said. That is good. It is. Treatable. Yes. Why do both of you look like someone died? Mom reached for a piece of toast. Because your sister is emotionally inefficient. Hannah sat on the other side of the bed. Her eyes filled. Then she laughed. Then cried. My mother opened one arm. Hannah leaned into it. I remained standing because if I sat, I would join them, and then no one would remember to ask whether Mom was allowed to eat before the surgical consultation. That was how my family operated. One person fell apart. Another found the clipboard. At 7:42, Ryan arrived with Lily. He had been told not to bring her to the hospital. He brought her anyway. I had no one else, he said. You had Mrs. Delgado. She is meeting an insurance adjuster. Mr. Robinson threatened to teach Lily poker. That is still safer than you. Lily entered Mom's room carrying a purple backpack and one of the 3 cats rescued during evacuation. The cat was not ours. It belonged to the woman who had refused to leave her porch. Why is there an animal inside the hospital? I asked. Lily looked down at the carrier. His name is Senator. Why? He ignores people. Ryan lowered his voice. The owner was moved to another hospital. Mrs. Delgado has the other 2. That does not explain why this one is here. Senator bites. The cat hissed through the carrier. Mom laughed. The sound transformed the room. For 3 minutes, cancer became background noise while everyone argued about what to do with an angry orange cat. That was family too. Not denying danger. Refusing to let danger occupy every chair. At 8:15, Lila sent me a message. Emergency meeting at 10 o'clock. Independent Medical Conference Room, Level 2. Participants, Calder Receiver, Federal Prosecution, Community Council, Patient Representatives, Cross Family, Hart Family, Municipal Emergency Team. Purpose, discuss October 31 operation. The gala, 9 days away. I read the message twice. Then showed Mom. You are not attending, I said. That was not a question. No, good. Because the answer would be yes. You have cancer. I also have opinions. You just had a biopsy. I can sit. Federal agents are involved. I have met federal agents. They use chairs too. Hannah looked over my shoulder at the message. She should attend remotely. Thank you, Mom said. I did not say in person. Mom looked disappointed. Ryan opened the breakfast sandwich he had brought and took one bite. I am attending. No, Hannah and I said together. He chewed slowly. Why? Because you punched a hospital wall yesterday. It was one wall. You cannot solve federal conspiracy with your hands. I do not intend to. Everyone looked at him. Ryan sighed. I intend to sit quietly and make everyone uncomfortable. That is more believable, Hannah said. Lily raised her hand. Can I go to the party? Every adult stopped. She looked between us. The Halloween party. The gala was scheduled for October 31st. Some invitations had called it a city leadership celebration. The Cross Foundation promoted it with photographs of scholarship students, hospital success stories, and youth arts programs. To a 6-year-old, it sounded like a party. No, Hannah said. Why? Because it is for adults. The invitation had children. The inheritance candidate had seen the invitation. My body tightened. Lily noticed. Did I do something wrong? No, I crouched beside her. You did nothing wrong. Then why can't I go? Because some adults used the party for something dishonest. What? Children asked the question every system tried to avoid. What? Not why are you protecting me? Not should I be afraid? What happened? I looked at my mother. She had told me we would stop passing down silence. Some people collected information about families without asking. I said. They wanted to see how children behaved when their parents were under pressure. Lily frowned. Like a test. Yes. Did we pass? The question broke something inside me. This was not a test anyone had the right to give you. She considered. That. Are the bad people coming to the party? We think one might. Then why have it? Because we want to stop her. By having cake? Ryan looked toward the window. I am going to let Evelyn answer that. I took a breath. By letting her believe she can hide. But everyone at the event will know what is happening. Like pretend. Sort of. Can I pretend too? No, because I am 6. Yes. That is age discrimination. Hannah closed her eyes. She learned that phrase from me. I held Lily's shoulders gently. You will help by staying somewhere safe and telling us if anyone contacts you. Can Senator stay with me? The cat hissed again. Yes, I said. Ryan looked at me. That may violate federal protection rules. Let them argue with Senator. At 9:30, I left my mother's room and walked toward the second-floor conference wing. Jonathan's door remained guarded. He was scheduled to attend the meeting remotely. Federal prosecutors did not want him moving through the hospital. His mother remained in intensive care. His father had been transferred to a secure rehabilitation room. The Cross family existed within one building and could not visit one another without permission. I thought of their tower, private elevators, executive floors, different entrances for different levels of power. Now hospital rules applied to all of them. Not perfectly. Jonathan still had attorneys ordinary people could never afford. Victoria still knew board members personally, but the doors had begun to close equally. I entered the conference room at 9:58. The table was too polished for a hospital. Glass walls overlooked a smaller courtyard filled with dead leaves and wet benches. Dana Brooks, the federal prosecutor, sat near the head of the table. She had chosen not to sit at the head. That detail mattered. Naomi occupied a chair beside 2 doctors representing the Calder patients. Cameron had 3 legal folders open in front of him. Lila sat with her tablet. Victoria stood near the windows. She wore the same dark suit from the previous day, but without the confidence it usually carried. My father sat beside Samuel Ortega. They did not speak. They did not need to. 2 men who had spent 15 years separated by false records and private facilities now shared a cup of bad coffee. Michael Cross joined by video from his medical room. Jonathan's screen remained dark. The neighborhood had 3 representatives. Mrs. Delgado, Mr. Robinson, with his oxygen tank, and Reverend James from St. Bridget's. Mr. Robinson looked around the room. This is the first meeting I have attended where everyone may be arrested. Dana Brooks raised one eyebrow. Not everyone. Give it time. Mrs. Delgado placed a thick envelope on the table. These are relocation letters. Lila reached for them. Mrs. Delgado pulled the envelope back. They are not for the company. I understand. No, you do not. Lila folded her hands. Mrs. Delgado looked toward Dana. They go to the investigation. Dana accepted the envelope. A small act, but it showed how trust had changed direction. Information no longer flowed automatically upward to Cross Meridian. At 10:04, Jonathan's screen activated. He sat in his hospital room, wearing a plain blue shirt provided by federal staff. No suit. No executive office. The camera angle made him look almost ordinary. Then his gray eyes lifted, and the room still responded. Power did not disappear when symbols did. It had to be consciously restrained. Good morning, he said. Mr. Robinson looked at the screen. Your oxygen tank carrying was acceptable. Jonathan nodded. Thank you. I still do not like you. That remains reasonable. Dana opened the meeting. This discussion concerns a proposed controlled operation at the Cross Foundation Gala on October 31st. Proposed by whom? Mrs. Delgado asked. Ms. Hart raised the initial concept. Every eye moved toward me. I felt the weight. This was different from a Cross Meridian meeting. No one here reported to me. No one needed my approval. I could not turn courage into permission. I suggested keeping the gala because Catherine Voss may attend or attempt to access families through it. I said. That does not mean the operation should proceed. What does proceed mean? Reverend James asked. Federal surveillance. Controlled guest list. Informed adult participants. No child attends without. Full guardian consent and independent review. No child. My mother said from a tablet screen beside Dad. She had joined remotely from her hospital bed. The room turned toward her. Mom continued. Not even with guardian consent. A child rights attorney seated near Cameron nodded. I agree. Dana looked toward me. Your initial proposal? No children physically present. Then how does Catherine believe the family cohort is attending? Victoria asked. Digital profiles. Recorded material. Controlled substitutes. She will verify live signals, Michael said from the screen. Calder always does. Naomi leaned forward. What kind of signals? Hospital bracelets. Scholarship badges. Phone location patterns. Facial recognition. We can simulate those, Lila said. Cameron shook his head. She will expect resistance. What does that mean? Mrs. Delgado asked. It means Catherine does not merely want people to arrive, I said. She wants to see whether pressure changes their choices. Mr. Robinson looked at me. You are saying the party itself is a test? Yes. And you want us inside? No one is being asked yet. You are asking now by describing it. He was right. Even information created pressure. The city had been conditioned to believe refusing powerful institutions meant losing opportunity. We needed the opposite structure. No family loses medical care, legal support, housing restitution, or access to Calder records by refusing participation, Cameron said. Dana added. Participation cannot affect any investigation outcome. Naomi said, patient treatment remains independent of this operation. Lila looked toward the neighborhood representatives. Cross Meridian restitution funds will not be conditioned on cooperation. Mrs. Delgado's eyes narrowed. Is that written? Cameron lifted a document. It will be. She nodded. Then continue. We explained the recovered Phase 5 page. Social inheritance. Family resilience cohorts. The gala invitation list. The elevator symbol. The handwritten line. The strongest subject will choose the cage voluntarily. My mother's face tightened on the tablet. She means Evelyn. Yes, Jonathan said. His voice made the room turn. He continued. Catherine contacted her directly. The Hart file identifies her as the primary cognitive resilience candidate. And the cross line? I asked. Silence. Jonathan looked toward Michael's screen. His father answered. Jonathan. I stared at him. Catherine considers him a successful conditioned administrator. Jonathan's expression remained controlled. She believes my memory suppression improved executive function. Did it? Mr. Robinson asked. No one softened the question. Jonathan looked at him. I built the company after the treatment. That was not what I asked. Jonathan paused. I do not know which parts of me changed. Michael lowered his eyes. The question lived inside every person affected by Calder. Which feelings belonged to them? Which silences had been trained? Which fears came from family, illness, poverty, or deliberate manipulation? Naomi spoke. Memory suppression cannot manufacture ambition from nothing. It can remove context, alter inhibition, and impair emotional integration. In English, Ryan said. Hannah elbowed him. Naomi did not take offense. It may have made it easier for Jonathan to pursue power without fully feeling certain moral barriers. The room became quiet. Jonathan absorbed that in front of everyone. Not privately. Not in a protected office. Can it be reversed? Victoria asked. Memories may return. Emotional patterns can change through therapy, environment, and deliberate behavior. Can, Mr. Robinson repeated. Yes. Not guaranteed. No, Jonathan's eyes moved toward me. I looked away. This was not the time to make his recovery our romance. Dana returned to the operation. What does Catherine need from the gala? The family cohort in one location, Lila said. Why? Consolidated biometric capture, Naomi replied. Possibly real-time comparison of stress responses across generations. Can that happen without drugs? Reverend James asked. Yes. Cameras, microphones, wearable badges, mobile devices, environmental sensors. The building itself becomes the laboratory, I said. Cross Meridian Tower contained all of it. Security systems, smart lighting, elevators, climate control, phones, medical access. At the gala, a private event transformed into a behavioral instrument without any guest seeing a needle. What triggers the cage? Mom asked. We looked at her screen. She wrote that the strongest subject will choose it voluntarily, I said. Then the cage is not physical. Cameron leaned back. What do you think it is? A decision. Mom's voice remained calm. She will make Evelyn choose between exposing Catherine and protecting someone. Jonathan's jaw tightened. She may target Lily. No child will be there, Dana said. She can target someone elsewhere, Mom replied. Or make Evelyn believe she has. Marcus had done the same thing through screens and controlled information. Jonathan's mother appeared to die, then reappeared alive. Calder did not need direct physical control if it controlled what we believed. We need independent communication channels, Lila said. Nothing routed through Cross Meridian systems. Physical verification teams with every protected family member, Dana added. No decisions based only on video or audio, I said. Mom nodded. Good. We had learned. Dana looked around the room. The operational goal is Catherine's identification and arrest, recovery of Phase 5 records, and prevention of further harm. And public exposure? Mrs. Delgado asked. Evidence will be preserved for prosecution. That was not my question. Dana considered her. Some information may remain sealed to protect minors and medical privacy. Catherine used respectability, Mrs. Delgado said. Foundation boards. Hospitals. Schools. Yes. If people only hear about one criminal woman, the institutions continue. Cameron nodded. The public record needs systemic findings. Jonathan spoke from the screen. Cross Meridian should release internal structures once legally permitted. Dana looked at him. Your counsel may object. They already do. Will you waive corporate privilege? Lila's head lifted. That was larger than a press statement. Corporate privilege protected communications between executives and attorneys. Waiving it could expose decades of internal decisions. Jonathan looked toward Victoria. She sat very still, then looked toward his father. Michael's face showed fear. The old family instinct. Protect the institution. Protect the name. Protect each other through secrecy. Jonathan returned his eyes to Dana. For Calder-related matters, yes. Victoria exhaled. No objection. Michael closed his eyes. The family pattern cracked again. Dana made a note. That decision requires formal counsel. I will sign. No performance. No request for praise. Responsibility. Mr. Robinson adjusted his oxygen tube. Now ask the most important question. Dana looked at him. Which is, why should we trust any operation inside his building? No one answered immediately. Jonathan did not try. That helped. You should not trust the building, I said. Mr. Robinson looked at me. Then why use it? Because Catherine does. That is not enough. No, I opened the structural plans Lila had provided. No private elevators. No closed executive floor. Every participant enters through the main lobby. Federal control over physical systems. Independent technicians replace Cross Meridian security. All sensors disclosed. Can a person walk out whenever they want? Mrs. Delgado asked. Yes. Without losing access to evidence. Yes. Can residents bring their own observers? Yes. Press. Dana hesitated. Controlled pool. Mrs. Delgado shook her head. No. Uncontrolled media could endanger witnesses. So could controlled media. She was right. Cross Meridian had owned media companies. Catherine had used nonprofit communications. Control over the story was part of the system. Cameron proposed an independent press consortium selected by patient and community representatives. Dana disliked it. Lila warned about leaks. Mrs. Delgado remained firm. If the powerful choose every camera, then it is still their room. After 20 minutes, they agreed. 3 independent journalists. 1 local community reporter. 1 medical investigation reporter. 1 national public interest outlet. Their presence disclosed to all participants. No live broadcast until federal approval. No filming minors. No private medical details. Consent could be withdrawn at any time. The meeting moved slowly. That was the point. Ethical consent was slower than command. People asked repetitive questions. They misunderstood technology. They changed their minds. They demanded documents. Jonathan waited. At Cross Meridian, he could have approved a plan in 10 minutes and assigned the consequences to everyone else. Now he watched the people affected design the rules. At 11:40, Dana asked for preliminary positions. Mrs. Delgado agreed to participate as a neighborhood representative. Reverend James agreed if the church could send an independent observer. Mr. Robinson refused. No elevators, he said. Private or public. No one pressured him. His refusal was recorded. My father agreed to participate only if Mom's surgery schedule allowed family coverage. Mom interrupted from the screen. You are not using my kidney to avoid a federal operation. Dad looked at her. I am trying to stay with my wife. That is different. Say that. He took a breath. I want to stay with my wife. The room quieted. My father had spent years hiding love inside duty because duty sounded stronger. Mom's expression softened. Then stay. Samuel volunteered. Gabriel did not. I have been a patient number since I was 8, he said. I am not entering another experiment. Naomi nodded. Reasonable. Cameron agreed to attend as counsel. Lila agreed as technical witness. Victoria wanted to participate. Jonathan objected. You are a target. So are you. I am not attending. Everyone looked at his screen. I had assumed he would. Why? I asked. Federal restrictions. Dana corrected him. Attendance has not been decided. Jonathan's eyes remained on me. Catherine expects the heart and cross lines together. If I attend, I increase the accuracy of her test. That may also bring her out, Lila said. It gives her another person to threaten. You are not deciding alone, I said. His jaw tightened. I know. Then do not announce absence as if the discussion ended. He looked toward the table. You are right. The correction came in public. No defensiveness. Victoria watched him carefully. So did Michael. Perhaps this was the first time his family had seen what had changed. Dana recorded his position as undecided. Then looked toward me. Ms. Hart. Everyone waited. I agree to continue planning, I said. Not final participation. Jonathan's shoulders relaxed slightly. He tried to hide it. I noticed. My mother noticed me noticing. Her screen showed a small, tired smile. At noon, the meeting ended without a final decision. That was success. No one had been forced into certainty. In the hallway, Lila handed me a new phone. I did not take it. What is it? Independent secure device. Who controls it? Federal technical team. Calder receiver has audit access. Cross Meridian? No, I accepted it. The screen contained no personal applications. Only emergency contacts, protected family locations, and operation documents. One contact appeared as JDC Medical Supervision. I looked at Lila. He requested that his name not appear directly. Why? Catherine may search the device. Then initials are not subtle. I told him that. What did he say? That he was drugged and would revisit the naming convention. I almost smiled. Lila became serious. His federal interview begins this afternoon. How long? Unknown. Are you attending? As a witness, not his assistant. The distinction mattered. What happens to you? I asked. Investigators will decide. You preserved logs. I also controlled his office for 13 years. Did you know about inheritance? No, could you have known? Her face tightened. Possibly. The same moral territory. Not direct guilt. Not innocence. What will you do if they charge you? Answer. No dramatic defense. She had learned the same lesson. I returned to Mom's room. Her surgical oncologist arrived at 1:15. The mass appeared localized. Surgery was scheduled for 12 days later. 3 days after the gala. The doctor preferred not to delay longer. Mom asked whether the gala operation could affect the date. I stared at her. She looked innocent. The doctor did not understand the question. No operation affects the date, I said. Mom folded her hands. We will see. No, Hannah joined me. Absolutely not. Ryan looked at Mom. I support them. You support anyone who sounds angry, Mom said. I am consistent. The doctor watched us. This seems like a family discussion. It is over, I replied. Mom looked toward Lily. Your aunt has become authoritarian. Lily colored a purple cat on hospital stationery. She has always been bossy. I took away the purple crayon. Lily gasped. That is abuse of power. Mom pointed at her. See, for the next 2 days, no one mentioned Catherine directly in front of Lily. That changed on the 3rd day. A package arrived at Hannah's apartment. No return address. Inside was a child's book titled The Brave Little Bird. The story followed a bird who entered a golden cage to save its family from winter. At the end, the bird decided the cage was safer than the sky. The illustration on the final page showed a purple sun, the same color I used in the drawing on our refrigerator when I was 9. Catherine knew. Not only our records, our private symbols. Hannah called federal protection. The package was sealed. Lily cried because agents took the book. It was mine. It came from someone unsafe, Hannah explained. Books are not unsafe. Sometimes people use good things for bad reasons. Lily looked at me. Did the woman send it? Yes. Because of the party? Yes. What did the bird do wrong? Nothing. Then why was it in a cage? Because someone wrote the story that way. She thought for a moment. Can I write a different ending? My throat tightened. Yes. She pulled out paper. In her version, the bird did not enter the cage. It called every bird in the forest. Together, they carried food to the family. The cage remained empty. When she finished, she wrote one sentence beneath the drawing. The sky is not only for one bird. Federal investigators photographed it, not as evidence against Catherine, as evidence of how children reclaimed stories adults tried to use against them. I kept the original. On the 4th day, Cross Meridian announced a temporary governance structure. Jonathan formally resigned as Chief Executive Officer. Not administrative leave. Resigned. The statement arrived at 8 o'clock in the morning. I read it beside Mom's hospital bed. He accepted responsibility for institutional failures under his leadership. He did not admit criminal knowledge he said he did not possess. He waived severance, placed his controlling shares into an independent voting trust pending investigation, requested employee protections, patient restitution, community land transfer. The board accepted after 3 hours of emergency debate. Cross Meridian no longer had a cross in operational control. Victoria resigned from the board the same afternoon. She retained personal shares but transferred voting authority. Michael issued no public statement. Eleanor remained hospitalized and had not yet spoken publicly. The empire had not collapsed. It had lost its family throne. I called Jonathan through the secure device. A federal officer connected us. You resigned, I said. Yes. You did not tell me. It was not your burden. That is not the same as informing me. No, he paused. I am sorry. Why resign now? Because every employee questioning Calder still reported through structures loyal to me. You could have ordered protection. That would still make protection depend on my choice. The answer sounded like him. A newer version. What happens to the gala? The independent committee controls the building. Will they allow it? Under federal operation authority. And you? My attorneys oppose attendance. What do you want? Silence. I want to be there. Why? Catherine built her theory partly around me. That is not a reason. I want to see her. That is more honest. He breathed out. My mother remembered Catherine visiting Calder. When, for years, she treated the family like data. And you want revenge? No, the answer came quickly. Then changed. Yes. He did not hide from it. I want her to see that I am not what she designed. That sounds like a dangerous reason to enter. I know. Are there better reasons? She may respond to my presence. That benefits the operation. Yes. Anything else? I do not want you in the building without me. There it was. Concern becoming desire for proximity. Not command yet. I waited. He corrected himself. I am afraid of what may happen to you. Better. I dislike these conversational rules. You need them. Yes. The word held warmth. Not surrender. Recognition. Have you decided whether you are attending? He asked. No, I will not try to persuade you. That is wise. I do want you to know something. What? If you refuse, the operation changes. It does not fail. The pressure inside me loosened. Catherine's message claimed the strongest subject would choose the cage voluntarily. Refusal had to remain real. Not symbolic. Not technically available while everyone expected sacrifice. Thank you, I said. You do not owe anyone proof of courage. My mother's warning returned. Do not prove your worth by staying. Jonathan had listened. On the 5th day, the first Phase 4 node released its full patient records. Baltimore. 109 people had been screened. 23 received experimental compounds without informed consent. 6 remained in long-term care. Their families had been told the neurological changes came from underlying illness. A woman named Denise Carter spoke to Naomi by video. Her husband had forgotten the last 7 years of their marriage. He remembered meeting her, not marrying her. not their daughter's birth. Denise did not cry while telling us. She had done her crying years earlier. They said degenerative disease, she told Naomi. I believed them because the hospital had specialists. Did anyone mention Calder? No, Cross Meridian. The hospital had a different name. Ownership hidden behind layers. Again, Denise looked toward me. You are the girl from Chicago. I am Evelyn. They keep calling you the girl. I know. You found the numbers? One of them. My husband was number 64. I had no answer. Numbers had become graves without bodies. Are you going to that gala? She asked. Possibly. Why? To bring Catherine into the open. Denise's face remained still. Does your family want you to? Some do. Some do not. What do you want? The question arrived without strategy. I looked toward the hospital courtyard. I want her stopped. That is not the same as wanting to be there. No, it was not. Denise continued. My husband spent his whole life doing what people needed. Army, factory, family. She looked down. When the hospital offered free treatment, he said yes, because we could not pay. Catherine studied sacrifice, not courage alone, the willingness to enter danger for others. People like my father, my mother, Jonathan, me. The program finds people who believe their value comes from what they endure, Denise said. Her words reached deeper than the medical files. How do you know? Because those are the people who sign without asking what care will cost them. I thought of the gala. Entering to save others. Voluntarily choosing the cage. Was Catherine predicting my courage? Or exploiting my inability to step away? That night, I told my mother I might refuse. She did not look relieved. She looked thoughtful. Good. You want me to refuse? I want refusal to exist. What would you do? That is not relevant. It is to me. Mom looked toward the hospital window. At 24, I would have gone. And now I know sacrifice can become pride. I sat beside her. Pride. You start believing no one else can carry what you carry. That described Jonathan. My father. Me. Sometimes you go because it is necessary, she continued. Sometimes you go because being needed has become the only way you recognize yourself. The word stayed with me. At midnight, I opened the Phase 5 files again. Catherine's predictive notes appeared beside family profiles. Heartline. Daniel, sacrifice through guilt. Margaret, sacrifice through care identity. Ryan, sacrifice through protective aggression. Hannah, sacrifice through responsibility. Evelyn, sacrifice through cognitive control. Lily, inheritance trajectory undetermined. She had reduced our love to mechanisms. Not entirely inaccurately. That was what made it dangerous. Calder did not invent our patterns. It named them, pressured them, and used them against us. Cross line. Michael, sacrifice through secrecy. Eleanor, sacrifice through bodily endurance. Victoria, sacrifice through loyalty. Jonathan, sacrifice through ownership. The phrase beside Jonathan made me stop. Sacrifice through ownership. He protected by possessing responsibility. Company, family, problems, people. He believed if he held enough control, no one else would suffer. When control failed, he offered himself instead. Different action, same belief. Everything belonged on his shoulders. Catherine understood both of us. The gala could not succeed if we entered as predicted subjects. We needed to act against pattern. For me, that might mean allowing others to lead. For Jonathan, surrendering control before the crisis. On the 6th day, the operation team met again. This time, former Calder patients attended. Denise Carter joined remotely. A veteran from Chicago named Paul attended in person. The woman from Bed 12 introduced herself as Marisol Vega. She had entered Mercy South for migraine treatment and woke inside Calder East. She agreed to participate in the gala operation. Cameron asked why. Because Catherine believes patients disappear after treatment, she said. I want her to see my face. Paul refused. I have spent enough time in rooms where other people measure my reaction. No one pressured him. Denise offered a recorded statement, but would not attend. The operation changed around consent. More slowly, more honestly. The guest list became a mixture of informed adults, community representatives, former patients, independent doctors, investigators, journalists, a limited number of public officials whose involvement appeared in the red ledger. Those officials would not be told every operational detail. Some might lead to Catherine. No children. No vulnerable patients requiring acute care. No one financially dependent on Cross Foundation grants. Every participant could leave. No hidden observation by our side. Cameras disclosed. Data collection minimized. The tower's smart systems physically disconnected. Independent engineers replaced software with local mechanical controls. No private elevators. The executive elevator was disabled completely. Its doors remained closed in the lobby. A brass sign would cover them. Out of service by order of federal court. I looked at the diagram. The place where Jonathan and I met would not move. That felt like an ending. Or a correction. Catherine may use an external system, Naomi said. Wearable device. Dana asked. Phone. Jewelry. Medical patch. Anything capable of transmitting. Full screening at entry. She may not enter. Physically. Remote access. Tower systems isolated. Human intermediary, I said. Everyone looked toward me. She built the North American Center for Cognitive Health. She may send someone respectable enough to bypass suspicion. Who? Dana asked. Board member. Doctor. Foundation donor. Journalist. Lila opened the gala list. More than 400 original invitees. Most had been removed. One name remained because federal investigators wanted to observe him. Senator William Harrow. His campaign appeared in the red ledger beside multiple Calder donations. He denied knowledge. Another name. Dr. Elaine Mercer. Director of Pediatric Behavioral Research at Catherine's nonprofit. No charges. No confirmed Calder access. Another. Peter Wexler. Senior partner at the law firm linked to Civic Transition Analytics. He had represented Marcus. Every respectable institution had a doorway. We cannot invite everyone, Dana said. No, then Catherine will know it is controlled. She already knows, I replied. The message in the child's book proved she was observing us. She may attend because she believes she can control the controlled environment. Jonathan joined remotely again. What does she believe we will do, he asked. Protect appearances, I said. Whose? Yours. He looked toward the conference camera. I continued. She expects the independent committee to preserve Cross Meridian's value. Keep the gala polished. Hide the patients. Limit public questions. So we do the opposite. Not chaos. No, he understood. We make the structure visible. The gala would not pretend nothing had happened. The main hall would contain public exhibits explaining the known Calder system. Timelines. Ownership maps. Patient rights statements. Community impact. The red ledger remained evidence and could not be displayed, but verified facts could. Catherine would enter a building where secrecy no longer controlled the atmosphere. She may refuse to come, Victoria said. Then we still hold the event, Mrs. Delgado replied. Everyone looked at her. She sat at the table wearing a dark blue dress she said she had purchased for her husband's funeral. You keep calling it bait, she continued. Maybe it should be a hearing. Dana frowned. Public hearings require formal procedure. Then call it a witness gathering. The room quieted. Mrs. Delgado looked toward Jonathan's screen. Your foundation invited people every year to show how much good rich people did. Jonathan accepted it. Yes. This year, invite the people who paid for the building without owning any part of it. Workers, patients, displaced families, employees, the people below the marble. The gala changed again. Not only operation. Testimony. Not Catherine's test. Ours. At the end of the meeting, Dana requested final attendance decisions within 48 hours. I still had not decided. Jonathan had not either. That evening, I visited him under supervision. He had been moved from the hospital to a federal medical residence after his arm improved. The residence looked like a small hotel designed by people who distrusted curtains. Plain furniture. Secured windows. One table. No personal objects except a paper copy of the South Harbor Community Land proposal. He stood when I entered. You do not have to do that. Habit. Sit. That sounded like an order. I stared at him. He almost smiled. Would you like to sit? Yes. We sat across from each other. No desk between us. No private elevator beneath us. How is your mother? He asked. Arguing with the surgeon about recovery time. Good. Eleanor. Awake more often. Memory inconsistent. Does she recognize you? Sometimes. The answer hurt him. Michael. He wants forgiveness before understanding what he is asking for. Are you giving it? No, good. He looked surprised. Good. Forgiveness under pressure is another form of control. He considered that. Victoria? Testifying. She has provided the Calder emergency contacts. Do you trust her? No. Do you love her? Yes. Both things. I resigned from Cross Meridian, I said. He became very still. When? This afternoon. Why did you not tell me? It was my decision. Yes. The correction came immediately. I am sorry. I did not resign because of you. I know. I resigned because the company hired me through an undisclosed Calder flag, and I cannot return as if employment is separate from the investigation. I understand. My resignation letter requested whistleblower protection and preservation of my work. Reasonable. I also refused the settlement human resources offered. His face hardened. They offered a settlement. Confidential payment. No admission. Broad non-disparagement. How much? That is not relevant. It is to the investigation. I forwarded it to Dana. He relaxed slightly. How much? 250,000. The number should have felt large. Life-changing. Medical bills. Mortgage. Mom's surgery. Lily's future. Cross Meridian had offered enough to make silence look like responsibility. The pattern again. Did they know about your mother's diagnosis? Jonathan asked. Yes. His face became cold. Who authorized it? Independent Restructuring Council. I will, he stopped. No longer chief executive. No longer owner of every problem. What will you do? I asked. Nothing directly. Better. I will inform Dana that similar offers may target other employees. Good. He looked at me. Was refusing difficult? Yes. The truth mattered. I thought about Mom's treatment. The house. Debt. You should not have been placed in that position. No, I am sorry. I know. He folded his hands. So you no longer report through Cross Meridian. No, the air between us changed. Not into freedom. Federal investigation remained. Trauma remained. 25 years remained. But one formal power imbalance had ended. I am still connected to the independent community review, I said. Paid. By a court-supervised fund. Fixed rate. No cross-control. Good. You sound relieved. I am. Why? Because wanting you near me felt incompatible with controlling your employment. My pulse changed. You did not control it directly. I controlled the person who controlled the person who did. Yes. That is still power. Yes. He looked toward his recovering hand. I have thought about what you said. I say many things. That I protect through ownership. I waited. It was in the Calder file. Do you believe it? Yes. Completely. No good. He looked at me. I do not want to own your time, work, gratitude, or choices. That is a strong statement after 9 days. 10. I almost smiled. 10. He continued. I do want to know you when this is not an emergency. The room became very quiet. That cannot happen yet. I know. Your investigation. Yes. My family. Yes. Catherine. Yes. We do not know who we are outside this. No, he did not try to convince me. That made the desire more difficult to dismiss. What are you asking? I said. Nothing. That is evasive. He looked directly at me. I am telling you I intend to remain honest about wanting a future possibility without turning it into present pressure. The sentence was careful, almost legal. I raised one eyebrow. You practice that? With a therapist. I blinked. You have a therapist? Federal medical staff strongly suggested one. And I discovered refusal would be predictable. A laugh escaped me. Catherine's file? Yes. What did the therapist say? That making choices only to disprove a profile still gives the profile control. That was true for me too. Attending the gala to prove courage would still make Catherine the author. Refusing only to prove independence would do the same. What do you want? Jonathan asked. About us. About the gala. I looked toward the secured window. I want to attend. His jaw tightened. He did not speak. I also want to stay with Mom. Her surgery is after the event. That is not the only care she needs. No, I want Catherine arrested. Yes. I want Lily to see that adults stopped her. Yes. I want not to become exactly what Catherine predicts. What does she predict? That I choose the cage because being needed makes me feel valuable. Jonathan absorbed that. What would choosing freely look like? I do not know. Then perhaps attendance is not one decision. I looked at him. He continued. Set conditions. Leave if they fail. Give other people authority to remove you. Refuse to carry the operation alone. Shared control, not sacrifice. Will you attend? I asked. I want to. That was not my question. He breathed out. Yes. Conditions? Federal approval. No personal authority over building systems. medical monitoring, immediate withdrawal if compliance symptoms return, and emotional conditions? His expression changed. I do not make decisions based on threats to family without physical verification. Good. I do not negotiate privately with Catherine. Good. I do not place myself between you and an exit. The line reached me. He understood more than physical protection. And if I tell you to leave? I asked. I ask why. Not simply obey. No, I almost smiled. Good. He continued. If the reason concerns your safety, we decide with the operational lead. Not you. No, not me. No, Dana. Yes. The operation needed structures stronger than our feelings. We both agreed to attend. Not alone. Not as bait. As informed participants inside a plan led by others. On the 8th day, my mother was discharged from Mercy South. She walked slowly through the hospital entrance with Dad beside her. No cameras were allowed close. Hannah held the medication bag. Ryan carried Senator's cat carrier because the owners still remained in rehabilitation. Lily walked between Mom and me. Our house had passed utility inspection. The family could return. When we reached South Deering, neighbors stood on porches. Not cheering. Watching. Waiting to see whether ordinary life could resume. Mrs. Delgado had placed a sign in her yard. Not for sale. Other signs followed. We live here. Ask before you measure. People are not parcels. Mr. Robinson's sign read, I survived the billionaire's oxygen tank. Jonathan heard about it through Lila. He requested a photograph. Mr. Robinson refused, then mailed him one personally. The house smelled like dust, cold pipes, and tomato soup. Dad had left the pot in the refrigerator before evacuation. Hannah threw it away. Mom objected. We do not waste food. It is 9 days old. It was sealed. It survived an armed utility protocol. It has done enough. Lily ran upstairs to check her room. The height marks remained beside the doorway. I touched the line with my name. Evelyn, age 10. Catherine had watched families across generations. But she misunderstood what marks like these meant. Not only growth. Witness. Someone had stood here. Someone had noticed. Someone remembered. That evening, we held the final family discussion about the gala. Mom would not attend physically. Neither would Lily. Hannah would remain with them at a protected location. Ryan wanted to attend. Dad asked him to remain with the family. Ryan refused. Then Lily spoke. Uncle Ryan should go. Everyone looked at her. Why? He scares people. Ryan nodded. Finally, respect. Lily continued. But he needs Aunt Hannah to tell him when to stop. Hannah closed her eyes. The final arrangement placed Ryan at the gala as a community safety liaison. Hannah remained at the protected location with Mom and Lily, connected through verified video. Dad attended as a witness. Samuel attended. Gabriel did not. No one criticized him. Before bed, Mom found me sitting at the kitchen table with operation plans spread around me. You decided. Yes. Why? Because I want to testify. That is not the same as catching Catherine. No, I can leave even if she does not appear. Good. I am not responsible for the entire operation. Say it again. I am not responsible for the entire operation. Do you believe it? Partly. Better than nothing. She sat across from me. The same kitchen. The same table Jonathan remembered from 15 years earlier. Are you afraid? She asked. Yes. Of Catherine? Yes. Of Jonathan? I looked at her. No, that answer came quickly. I am cautious. That was not what I asked. I am afraid of what the connection could become if we mistake crisis for intimacy. Mom nodded. That is sensible. I am afraid the world will say I chose him for money. The world says women choose badly no matter what they choose. I am afraid he will lose power and use me to feel powerful again. Has he? No, I am afraid I will turn his healing into my project. Have you? Maybe. Mom reached across the table. Then keep asking. What? Does this belong to me? The question applied to everything. His guilt. His grief. His company. His recovery. His love. Not every pain near me belonged in my hands. Do you think he loves me? I asked. Mom smiled tiredly. I think he is learning how not to confuse love with control. That is not an answer. It is the only answer that matters before the word. On October 31st, Chicago woke beneath low gray clouds. The gala began at 7 that evening. At 5:30, Cross Meridian Tower reopened under federal control. The gold company emblem remained in the lobby. No one had removed it. Instead, a temporary installation stood in front of it. A list of known Calder patients. Not numbers. Names. Some remained confidential and appeared as private at family request. Others were visible. Samuel Ortega, Denise Carter's husband, Marisol Vega, Kathleen Brennan. The list extended across 3 panels. Beside it stood a second display. South Harbor residents. Families who consented to be named. Businesses. Churches. Schools. The building could not present charity without also presenting cost. I arrived through the main doors at 6:08. No side entrance. No executive route. Federal security checked my identification. Independent technicians scanned my clothing for transmitters. I wore a simple dark blue dress Hannah had chosen. Not borrowed from a luxury designer. Not selected by Cross Meridian. Purchased from a department store clearance rack. It fit. That was enough. My hair remained loose for the first time all week. The woman in the security mirror looked older than she had 10 days earlier. Not in her face. In her eyes. Cameron arrived behind me wearing a suit that did not quite fit across his shoulders. He looked at my dress. Then at me. You look like someone who ignored advice about resting. So do you. My suit is attempting to restrict circulation. That may improve your decision-making. He smiled. Not jealous tonight. Not claiming anything. Counsel. Friend. A man who had chosen his role without demanding another. Mrs. Delgado entered carrying her husband's photograph. She had framed it. They invited couples, she said. He is coming. Mr. Robinson did not attend. His empty place remained accepted. Samuel entered with Dad. Both wore dark suits. Dad used a cane. He hated it. Samuel used no visible assistance, but moved slowly. Michael Cross arrived under medical supervision. The lobby reacted. Reporters recognized him from old photographs. The dead father. Alive. He did not speak. Victoria followed Eleanor's medical transport team. Eleanor attended only through a secured room on the 2nd floor. Too medically fragile for the ballroom. She insisted on being inside the building. Family habit, Victoria said. Jonathan arrived at 6:31. No motorcade. No black overcoat. Federal agents walked beside him. He wore a charcoal suit. The first color I remembered him wearing. For 1 second, the lobby returned to the night we met. Rain against glass. Silver at his temples. Controlled face. The man inside the elevator. Then I saw the differences. No access badge. No executive security. No one moving aside by instruction. He entered the same screening line. Removed his watch. Emptied his pockets. Allowed a technician to scan his injured right arm. When he saw me, he stopped. Not dramatically. The pause was enough. He approached. You came. I said I would. I know. His eyes moved over me. No possession. No public performance. You look beautiful, he said. The simplicity affected me more than a grander line would have. Thank you. You look tired. That is less romantic. It is also true. You look like a defendant. I may become one. Cameron approached. Jonathan looked at him. Mr. Reed. Mr. Cross. No friendship. No false warmth. Respectful distance. Cameron handed me an identification badge. Witness. Independent Community Review. Jonathan's badge read. Witness. Former Cross Meridian executive. Former. The word changed the balance again. At 6:45, Dana gathered the operation participants. No one knew whether Catherine would enter. Facial recognition had been disabled to prevent data collection. That also made identification harder. Human observers held printed photographs of Catherine across different ages and identities. Dr. Catherine Vale. Catherine Voss. Foundation Director. Research Advisor. Her face changed through decades. Hair color. Glasses. Weight. But the eyes remained. Gray-green. Calm. Interested. She may appear through a representative, Dana said. No participant follows anyone alone. No private conversations. No action based solely on digital communication. Everyone. Repeated the rule. Not because we were children. Because repetition created shared memory under stress. Verified physical location for all protected family members. Mom, Hannah, and Lily remained at a federal residence. Live camera. 2 independent officers. No pre-recorded loop. A handwritten verification phrase changed every 15 minutes. At 7 o'clock, the doors opened. The gala began. No orchestra. No champagne reception. No luxury auction. Guests entered a hall transformed into testimony. The marble remained. The chandeliers remained. We did not pretend wealth had disappeared. Instead, Every expensive surface stood beside the people whose labor and data helped pay for it. Former employees spoke. Patients recorded statements. South Harbor residents displayed photographs of their homes. A nurse described insurance denials. A warehouse worker explained how biometric tracking moved from cargo to people. Independent journalists observed. Public officials entered beneath signs naming the programs their offices had funded. Some turned around. Federal agents recorded that too. Senator Harrow arrived at 7:18. He saw the Calder timeline and nearly left. Dana's team intercepted him for voluntary questioning. He agreed only after reporters noticed. Respectability remained another form of pressure. At 7:34, Dr. Elaine Mercer entered. Pediatric behavioral researcher. Catherine's former colleague. She wore a red dress and no jewelry. Her screening found nothing. She walked directly toward the inheritance exhibit. I watched from across the hall. She is too obvious, Cameron said. Maybe. She wants us to watch her. Yes. Then who are we not watching? I scanned the room. Waiters. Federal technicians. Journalists. Patients. Attorneys. A maintenance worker adjusting an air vent. My eyes stopped. The worker wore an old Cross Meridian facilities uniform. The building staff had been replaced for the operation. No one should wear that uniform. I touched the communication device near my wrist. Unknown maintenance uniform, east balcony. Dana's team moved quietly. The worker saw them. He dropped his tool bag and ran. 2 agents followed. The room shifted. Guests looked toward the balcony. Security attention moved east. Diversion. I turned west. The disabled executive elevator doors stood beneath the brass federal sign. Out of service. A woman stood in front of them. White hair. Dark glasses. Simple black dress. No badge. She touched the brass sign with one finger. Then looked at me. Gray-green eyes. Catherine. Older than her public photographs. Thinner. But unmistakable. She smiled. I did not move toward her. That was the first rule. Do not follow alone. I touched my wrist device. Visual confirmation. Executive elevator. Catherine Voss. Static answered. Then silence. Communication failure. She had activated something. People continued moving behind me. Music had not begun, but recorded testimony filled the hall. Catherine pointed toward the disabled elevator. The doors opened. They were not supposed to have power. Inside, the lights glowed. My wrong elevator waited. The cage. Catherine stepped inside. She did not ask me to follow. She knew asking would make resistance easier. The doors began closing. I remained where I was. Her smile faded slightly. Then a screen inside the elevator activated. Lily appeared, sitting at a table inside the protected residence. She looked toward someone beyond the camera. My body went cold. The image was live. The handwritten verification phrase appeared on the wall behind her. Purple birds choose the sky. Current. Real. Catherine had access. She spoke from inside the elevator. You can remain there. The doors continued closing. Or you can learn which officer beside your niece works for me. The cage was the decision. Follow. Or leave Lily inside uncertainty. My hand moved toward the elevator. Then stopped. No decisions based only on video or audio. Verify physically. I looked across the hall. Jonathan had seen Catherine. He began moving toward me. I raised one hand. Stop. Not because I wanted control. Because Catherine expected him to rush. Dana appeared near the western column. Her communication device had failed too. I pointed toward Catherine. Agents moved. The elevator doors stopped halfway. Catherine held the controls. 10 seconds, she said. The screen changed. One officer stood behind Lily. Male. Brown hair. Federal uniform. He lifted a syringe. Hannah moved into frame. She did not see him. My pulse hammered. I did not enter. I shouted across the hall. Verification team. No radio. No answer. Jonathan reached me. What? I pointed to the screen. His face changed. He stepped toward the elevator. I grabbed his left wrist. No, that is Lily. It is a screen. The phrase is current. Physical verification. He looked toward Dana. She signaled an agent to run to the hardline phone. Catherine watched us. 8 seconds. Jonathan's old pattern activated. Protect through ownership. Move first. Take responsibility. I held his wrist harder. Do not become predictable. His eyes found mine. Pain. Fear. Then choice. He stopped. We waited. The hardest action was stillness. 5 seconds, Catherine said. The officer on the screen lowered the syringe toward Lily. Mom entered frame. She looked directly at the camera, then held up a sheet of paper. Today's second verification phrase. The sky is not only for one bird. The phrase on the wall was old. The image had been delayed, not live. Catherine had combined recent footage with a previous phrase. The syringe might be false. The officer might not even be inside now. Dana received confirmation through the hardline. Protected location secure. Jonathan exhaled. The elevator screen went black. Catherine's face lost warmth. You learned. Yes, I said. The agents approached. The elevator doors began closing again. Jonathan moved. Not inside. He reached for the external emergency lever Rosa Alvarez had shown us in the building plans. A mechanical control. Outside Catherine's digital system. He pulled it. The doors locked open. Catherine pressed the internal panel. Nothing. No private escape. The first rule. Agents surrounded the elevator. Catherine looked at Jonathan. You believe this changes what you are? No, he stood outside the threshold. It changes what I choose. She turned toward me. You would have entered 10 days ago. Yes. Then I improved you. No, my voice remained steady. My family told me the truth. Agents ordered her to step out. She did not. Instead, she removed a small silver device. From her dress. Not a weapon. A biometric key. The elevator floor illuminated beneath her. A circle appeared. Inheritance consolidation ready. The operation was not only escape. The elevator itself remained connected to an isolated Calder system hidden beneath the tower. Independent engineers had disconnected digital controls. But the mechanical foundation vault contained older architecture. Catherine had built a system below the system. Naomi, I called. She stood near the hall entrance. She saw the floor. Everyone move away. Guests back toward the exits. Federal agents kept weapons trained on Catherine. She pressed the key. Nothing happened. The floor requested primary candidate entry. She needed me inside the circle. The cage had to be voluntary. Catherine smiled faintly. You stopped the threat. Yes. But the program remains. Not tonight. You think refusal is victory? I think your system cannot measure what I do not give it. Then you learn nothing. That is consent. The word struck harder than an accusation. Her work depended on treating non-participation as missing data instead of a human right. Enter, she said. No, your family line deserves to understand itself. We understand enough. You inherited fear. Yes. Guilt. Yes. Sacrifice. Yes. You could know which traits belong to you. I looked toward my father. My mother's screen. Hannah. Ryan. Lily. Jonathan. Cameron. Every person watching. They belong to me because I decide what I do with them. Catherine's eyes hardened. That is not science. No, it is life. She pressed the key again. The system repeated, primary candidate entry required. I remained outside. Jonathan remained beside me. Not blocking. Not pulling. Beside. Catherine looked at him. You could place her inside. His face became cold. That sentence explains everything you never understood. What? She is not mine to place anywhere. The hall went silent. Not a romantic declaration. A rejection of ownership. The system Catherine built around powerful men required him to claim me. He refused. Her model failed. The elevator floor began flashing. Candidate consent absent. Inheritance consolidation. Cancelled. The word appeared. Cancelled. Again. Not delayed. Not transferred. Cancelled because I did not enter. Catherine stared at the floor. For the first time, she looked old. Not weak. Human. A person whose life's work depended on a subject eventually agreeing to become data. Dana stepped forward. Catherine Vale, you are under arrest for conspiracy, unlawful human experimentation, kidnapping, evidence destruction, and related federal offenses. Catherine looked toward the crowd. Patients, residents, journalists, former executives, workers. No isolated subject. No controlled family. Witnesses. She stepped out of the elevator. The agents placed her in handcuffs. As they led her away, she stopped beside me. You think this ends inheritance? No, what will you pass down? I looked toward Lily's verified live screen. She held up her rewritten book. The bird outside the cage. The truth that cages are built. Catherine's expression did not change. I continued. And the truth that doors can stay open. The agents took her through the main lobby. Not the private elevator. Not a hidden corridor. The same doors everyone used. At 8:11, federal technicians entered the elevator shaft. They found an analog Calder chamber beneath the car, old biometric receivers, family response files, a local backup of the Phase 5 program. The strongest subject was expected to enter voluntarily because forced entry produced different data. Catherine needed my consent. Not ethically, scientifically. She had built a machine that could not finish without the human choice she refused to respect. At 8:40, the gala did not end. Dana expected everyone to leave. Mrs. Delgado refused. We came to speak. Marisol agreed. Samuel agreed. The independent journalists remained. The witness gathering continued. Not as a celebration, as testimony. My father stood before the room first. He described the East processing line, the false clearance, the settlement, the photograph of 9-year-old me. He did not hide the money he accepted. He did not call silence protection. I was afraid, he said. His voice shook. I signed because my wife needed care and my children needed a home. He looked toward me. I believed loving them made the lie necessary. Then toward the residents. It did not. Samuel spoke next. He described Calder, memory treatments, Michael's protection, 15 missing years. Marisol described waking beneath Mercy South. Denise appeared by video and told the room about her husband forgetting their marriage. Mrs. Delgado held up her husband's photograph. My house is not valuable because Cross Meridian wanted the land, she said. It is valuable because a life happened inside it. Cameron explained the community land trust proposal. Naomi described patient receivership. Victoria testified that she signed continuity orders. She did not ask forgiveness. Jonathan spoke last. He stood without a podium. No company emblem behind him. No title beneath his name. My company built the systems that made Calder possible, he said. Some people in the room watched with anger. They had the right. I did not know the full program existed. He paused. That statement is true. It is also insufficient. The hall remained silent. I accepted summaries instead of questions. I treated legal settlement as moral resolution. I believed scale excused distance. His eyes moved toward the lobby, toward the list of names. I thought ruling a system meant controlling it from above. Then he looked at me, not for rescue, as witness. The people harmed by Cross Meridian do not need my redemption story. The sentence mattered. They need records, restitution, medical care, land, authority, and the right to decide whether I ever belong in their institutions again. He stepped back. No applause. He did not expect any. Mr. Robinson watched through a remote screen. His voice entered the hall. Acceptable. People laughed softly. The tension broke without disappearing. At 10:03, the gathering ended. Rain covered the city beyond the glass walls. The same way it had the night I entered the wrong elevator. Most guests left through the main doors. Federal agents remained. Journalists filed reports. Patients spoke with counsel. Workers dismantled the inheritance chamber beneath the elevator. I stood near the lobby windows. Jonathan approached. He stopped an arm's length away. Not. Closer. You did not enter. No, I thought you might. So did I. What stopped you? The possibility that courage looked different. He nodded. I wanted to pull you away. I know. I did not. I know. We watched Catherine's transport vehicle disappear into the rain. Your mother? He asked. Safe. Angry she could not attend. Lily. Rewriting the book again. How does it end now? The family breaks the cage apart and builds a bridge. That seems structurally ambitious. She is 6. He looked toward the disabled executive elevator. The first time we stood here, I thought you were simply lost. I was. No, he turned toward me. You knew exactly where you came from. I was the one who did not know what floor I was standing on. The line should have sounded rehearsed. It did not. Maybe because he looked tired. No title. No empire. No authority over me. Just a 49-year-old man who had spent 10 days learning that control and care were not the same thing. What happens tomorrow? He asked. Mom prepares for surgery. Yes. You testify. Yes. I work with the community review. Yes. Catherine hires lawyers. Many. Cross Meridian begins restructuring. Without you. Yes. The word hurt him. He allowed it. And us? He asked. The question returned. Not in a stalled elevator. Not beneath a hospital. In a lobby after the crisis had failed to force an answer. We continue not naming it, I said. For how long? Until your legal situation is clearer. Reasonable. Until Mom's surgery. Yes. Until we spend time together that does not involve federal agents. He glanced toward Dana across the lobby. That may be difficult. Then we wait. I am not good at waiting. You are learning. He smiled. Small. Real. No one had ever photographed that expression for a business magazine. May I ask one non-strategic question? He said. Yes. Would you have dinner with me when this is no longer an emergency? The question was simple. No gifts. No private car. No tower. No demand. When? I do not know. Where? Somewhere I do not own. That removes half the city. I have been informed my portfolio was excessive. I smiled. The feeling came without adrenaline. That was new. Yes, I said. His breath stopped slightly. Yes. Yes. When this is no longer an emergency. He nodded. No touch. No claim. A future possibility placed gently between us. Outside, the rain continued. 10 days earlier, Jonathan Cross ruled the city from 63 floors above it. That night, he stood beside me in the lobby with no private elevator, no executive title, and no guarantee about what came next. He had lost control of the building. I had refused the cage. Neither of us had saved the other alone. Behind us, workers removed Calder wiring from beneath the floor. Above us, the tower remained. Not innocent. Not redeemed. Only opened. And sometimes that was where change began. Not when the powerful man rescued the woman. Not when the woman healed the powerful man. But when both stopped calling control love and chose the same unlocked door.